As we count down the days to Las Vegas, I'm connecting with speakers, sponsors, and industry experts to get a pulse on what we can expect to see at Enterprise Connect 2026.
Hi Justin, thanks for having me on. Neelam Sandhu, CMO of Vonage for the last 7 months, and it's great to be here with you.
Neelam, it is great to get some time with you. It feels like this is the time of year where everything is happening all at once. If it's not company kickoffs and plannings, it's getting ready for the next event. Enterprise Connect is just days away. We're going to get into a little bit about what to expect from the conference itself, but I'd also love your perspective on some broader things. But what I think is special about Enterprise Connect is it certainly brings together people who are working in IT, in operations, customer experience, communication, all in one place. But it is just a moment in time. Every single one of us is navigating all sorts of questions and challenges today, and getting your perspective on that would be really, really helpful. Here's where I want to set the stage, actually looking at Enterprise Connect coming up. Big topics are AI, CX, collaboration, security. As you think about the current moment that we're in for enterprise communications, what do you think are some of the assumptions that leaders may be making ahead of the event that it's worth revisiting?
Great question. As you said, certainly a busy time of year. Company kickoffs, it's great events like Enterprise Connect, and the general day-to-day momentum and building behind that. For Enterprise Connect, the focus on AI is certainly the right one. That's the hot topic for everyone around the globe, and across industries and across organizations. I hear a lot recently about how the AI hype is bigger than AI adoption and the value of AI. From my perspective, I would say that it's certainly like the initial phases of adopting AI takes a little bit longer because it's a new technology. There's lots of conversations around regulations and security, all things that we need to figure out. But the potential of AI, we shouldn't lose sight of that. Everything, whether it's a new technology or something else, tends to have an upside and a downside, and it's up to us as organizations and broader society to make sure that we are adopting AI in a way that it is a force for good and we are driving positive value out of it. So I think that's a hot topic at the moment, and it shouldn't put us off of adopting AI just because it feels a little bit hard at the beginning. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah. Neelam, the idea of being eyes wide open on the upside and the downside of any decision that we're making, I think is really important. And for leaders, it's easy to just move into something because you're feeling pressure. Maybe you're feeling pressure from your board, or you're feeling pressure from your customers. And I think it's a really good reminder to take even the moment, that one meeting of pulling people together and say, what are we really looking to accomplish? What are the implications? What are the benefits? What are the roadblocks we might not expect? I think it is really important. You also alluded to something that has certainly been a big theme throughout these conversations ahead of the conference, and I'd say a theme for the year, and that is around outcomes. What is the tangible, meaningful impact that, whether it's AI or anything right now, is going to bring to our organization? I think one assumption that I personally would love to see leaders challenge, to kind of piggyback onto what you said there, was around what is the real benefit and outcome that we can expect from whether it's AI or other places that we look at automation. There may be benefits and value that we haven't even thought about that's right there waiting for us.
Absolutely, yeah. And like you said, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on companies, from boards, from just the general hype around certain technologies, to adopt them. Zero Trust security was a good example over the last few years. AI is now another. And it comes back to what you were describing, making sure we understand the real value of why we're doing something. And it tends to translate to customer value or employee experience, and both important. So how do we make sure that we're not trying to do everything all at once, and we are taking it in bite-sized chunks to make it tangible and then move things forward? Otherwise, I think there's a risk that we could fall into the trap we did with things like IoT and Zero Trust security, where we made, there was a lot of conversation, small progress, but the real potential of it just has not been realized. And AI, particularly when you bring these technologies together, AI, mobile networks, the cloud, and they become mutually reinforcing, the value of that is huge. So it's on us to make sure that we don't try to do too much with it and then get lost in the hype, but bring it together and really drive real value for customers, for employees, and then naturally the bigger picture benefits as well from that.
So you're saying we can't be all things to all people at all times. It doesn't work out when we take that approach.
I don't think so. We could try, but it tends not. Tends
You're
not to
you're
work.
you're spot on. I think back even a little bit more than a year ago, I was at an AI conference and walking the floor, it reminded me of what it probably would have been like to attend one of the very first internet conferences, where there's so many different things that if we're not really clear on the use case and the impact and the value and start specific and start small, it is easy to get caught up in all of that. Maybe to that point, it's one of the things that I've been thinking about, and I realize, so as a former operator myself, what I'm going to say, I don't want people, throwing fruit at the screen when they hear me say this. But if I look at the channels that the average enterprise is supporting today, it's SMS, it's WhatsApp, it's RCS, it's voice, it's chat, it's email, right? It's all of the things. And I don't believe that just adding more channels is the hard part right now. I think how we effectively orchestrate and engage and enable people to have context no matter what the modality is,
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, what do you think actually determines whether this engagement, and whether you want to think about it as omni-channel or multimodal, whatever it is, what do you think actually determines what drives impact and benefit for organizations?
Yeah, no, exactly. It comes back again to not trying to do everything in a way that, I guess it's like spreading peanut butter. Like, how do you really make sure that you understand what you're trying to achieve with what you're doing, and we're not just following the hype. So with channels like WhatsApp, RCS, voice, video, and other things, how do we not just try to ensure that we have every channel covered, and the experience then for the customer or the employee becomes fragmented? What is the strategy behind those channels, and where does your customer want to meet you? Having a more interoperable and single clear strategy is the key. And what determines real impact is how you deliver through the channels. Again, where does the customer want to meet you? Thinking about the context and making that experience contextual, bringing intelligence into it with technologies like AI, and then the interaction with the customer becomes more fulfilling for them. They don't necessarily care about the IT infrastructure behind it. It's the experience that they care about.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Well, and this is I have to look at our industry sometimes and like shake my hands and be like, what are we doing? Because we are all customers, and we experience the friction and frustration of clunky back ends every day. And never once do we have a problem and we contact an organization and we're like thinking in the fractured silos that they operate in. And yet that's how businesses are historically designing this. And they're not thinking about the need for context to be preserved as customers are moving throughout their interactions with us as an organization. And yeah, this to me is like one of those like, guys, this is a no-brainer moment for us. If we want to get this right, we've got to have a backbone in place that enables that to move fluidly as customers are navigating with us. On that end, one of the things that, of course, will get thrown into a lot of conversations at Enterprise Connect and is unavoidable right now is how AI plays a role in all of this, and whether it's the interactions themselves, whether it's enabling the employees to be more informed, the customers. Like, it sounds super powerful, right? We listen to the headlines like, this is insane. In practice, though, what do you think that organizations are getting wrong right now when they try to just layer AI into customer engagement without rethinking workflow or the plumbing, right? All of the things that enable AI to do or not do what it promises.
Yeah. I mean, I think you answered the question in the question. It comes back to a couple of points that you said. One is external parties, and I say this to my team all the time, they shouldn't be faced with the plumbing of the organization. So I tell my team, like, in the website, in our external comms, we should never reflect our organizational structure. That's not the key that customers care about. They want to see us as one unit, and their experience be seamless across it, not be bouncing around between different teams and contact points. And so coming back to the second part of your point around and your question around how do we implement AI in a meaningful way? It's rethinking the workflows, not just adding in AI in all the different places that we work today, but rethinking the workflow and thinking about how AI can help us reimagine and simplify the workflows, and make them more integrated. One of the things that we've done, we have network APIs as a product and contact center as a product, and we have been bringing the two together for our partners and customers to simplify the customer experience when they're contacting an agent at a contact center. So if they are having to jump between agents, contact center agents, or between their initial phone call or the chatbot, and then before going to a live agent, how do we make that experience seamless? I've lost count of the times I call up for customer support from a company. You enter your information or you speak to somebody, then they transfer you to a live agent or another live agent, and you have to repeat the same information over and over. That is not the experience the customer should expect. So advertising that way a company is adopting and using AI, like for me as a customer, means very little. It's then how does that actually translate to my experience? So in summary, it comes back to your point about we have to reimagine the workflows and simplify them, not just drop in AI to our existing systems.
Yeah. This is we've all been in that seat, whether it's a healthcare system or a retailer. We see the convergence of how we want to communicate, or how the employees that we're interacting with need to communicate. Like it needs to come together, and the technical capability is there. And so again, this is one of those places where I certainly pressure organizations to be thoughtful about how they're enabling their employees to connect and collaborate. But then ultimately, this is about serving the patients, the customers, the constituents, whoever it is that's entrusted into our organization's care. We've got to be able to do that with excellence. I've got two more questions for you. First, I want to think about what's ahead. And as we look at, we're going to keep it kind of a tight window. So we're going to say 12 to 18 months. When you think about that next year and a half, what do you believe is the most important shift for leaders in customer experience or marketing to make sure that they enable whatever they're doing from an AI-driven standpoint, whatever they're doing from a customer experience design standpoint? How do they balance the blend of a great customer experience, but also hitting the things that the operation needs to hit to be successful?
It's a good question. Over the next 12 to 18 months, I think it comes down to driving customer experiences that are engaging for the customer. Every touch point with a customer is a way to drive loyalty. So how do you make that experience engaging, yet also automate it at the same time? So there's efficiencies for the organization as well as for the customer. So bringing in AI, new CX technologies as well, and solutions like network APIs, which can add more intelligence that we haven't had before in the tech stack into the equation, so that we understand the customer so that they don't have to repeat all of their details in a phone call. And so there's automation, but then it doesn't get rid of the human touch, that you still have the live agent available to them so they can have the conversation. And I think that's the key. It might sound simple, but I think one of the things that we overcomplicate some of these technologies, right? We overthink them, we overcomplicate them, we want to revolutionize the world with them, but sometimes it's just about solving the day-to-day problems that frustrate everybody, and that's the key. That's how you drive customer loyalty, that's how you drive employee experience and efficiencies and gains and productivity for an organization as well.
It is getting the little things right consistently and at scale. That is actually what sets brands apart. It's not one grand motion every once in a while. I love how you said that, and that's I think the tightrope walk that every leader has always, but will continue to find themselves in, is how do we be good stewards of our resources and also ensure that we're thoughtful and intentional about how we design our interactions with our customers in a way that frankly values everybody, values our customers, values our employees, values our business partners. Last question I've got for you, Neelam, and I want to come back to Enterprise Connect now. Whether you've been there in the past or this is your first time, every event you're going to walk in and there's going to be a lot that will be kind of competing for your attention, whether it's sessions you want to get into at the same time or only so much time on the show floor to get to visit different solution providers that are out there. When you think about Vonage and the time that you're going to spend at Enterprise Connect, I'm curious, what are the conversations that you're most looking forward to having, and what should people expect to see your team focused on and demoing at this year's event?
Great. We're very excited to be at Enterprise Connect this year, and we've been there before, but not in the new location, so not in Vegas. So we're excited about that and the experience that will help build, and we'll be doing all the things that you just described. We'll have our booth, we'll have speaking sessions, we'll make sure that you know where the Vonage booth is, so a ton of branding everywhere. Can't get away from that as a marketeer. And we're going to be very intentional about engaging with the audiences there, from customers, analysts, from people who are just curious about what we're doing as a company. Very intentional, not pitching them, but understanding what their challenges, what their questions are, and having a conversation. And hopefully our solutions can help solve some of those challenges. If not, have a good conversation and help them enjoy the experience of Enterprise Connect. But we've got a ton of technologies to show, lots of interesting things to say on stage across our entire portfolio, which includes a couple other things I want to continue to beat the drum on, which is our contact center solution and our network APIs, and how that all comes together. And so a number of different things that we'll show, and we'll make sure it's interesting for you and relevant.
I love that it always starts with a conversation, and I encourage everyone to come to Enterprise Connect incredibly curious this year. Don't miss the opportunity that they have to come and see and hear and learn from organizations like Vonage. It will be great to be together with you in Las Vegas, March 10th. I'm just like checking down my calendar. We are almost there. Neelam, thank you so much for your time today. I look forward to being together with you. And what do you say? I will see you at EC 2026.
Yep, can't wait. See you there.